Hey, thanks for coming back in. It's been a while since I've posted a video. I do have my own son and just doing a lot of things with him, trying to get into the groove of the new school year. He is in kindergarten, so learning a lot of things about the school district, learning a lot of things about what he's experiencing. And I'll talk about that in another video. But this video, I wanted to come here and just talk about some of the things that I've seen on different pages, group pages, and different support pages of questions that and concerns that parents have put up, just different things that I've read. And I don't want to get too specific about the things that I've read, but just some stuff pertaining to like maybe a child who still needed help with like toiletry and things like that. And they were like kind of an older child. So just how to help out with stuff like that. And I just wanted to give kind of like my options of what I would tell people to do. I want to put that in a video and hope that I can help you guys. Okay, so what should I do for the behaviors for my child, like in school, if they're having issues? And if you're wondering, I'm looking here, so that's why I'm like looking down. So I want to answer this question in like four different ways to what you can do to help out with like the behaviors that are going on in the school, and you're kind of wondering like, okay, it doesn't seem like anything is happening and everyone's situation is different, so you may have some of the stuff that I'm saying, you may not. So I'm just going to generally say the things that I've said to a good amount of people that have said that they've had the same issue. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was if you have a child that is having like behavior issues and they have an IEP, have autism special needs, then you should ask for a one-on-one. You can, I think you would have to ask for, I guess, who would be the head of the special education department in that school. So you would ask them like how that would go about. I believe you may have to have an IEP meeting and then request the one-on-one in the IEP meeting. So I'm not 100% sure about those things, but getting a one-on-one from the school district would be a huge thing for me, because if your child's having certain behavior issues, then my thing is, instead of like punishing that child, we need to figure out what those behavior issues are. And sorry, I'm trying to help with the light right here. Right here. So what those behavior issues are, we should be documenting those things and kind of like figuring out, getting the data for that so that we can see what we can do for that, instead of just saying, okay, these are the behaviors. And a one-on-one would be able to help out with that. Whereas a teacher has a whole class that they have to worry about, the one-on-one can specifically like pinpoint where these behaviors may possibly be coming from and then document those things. So in the next IEP meeting, when we can discuss, okay, what's going on, where this is happening, they have that information. So that's important to ask from the school district. Two, you can ask for a one-on-one, because I've also seen this with some people saying that they ask for one-on-one, their child still doesn't have one, or it may be like a school support staff in the place of a one-on-one, but it's not an official one-on-one where they will be doing certain things that they should be when it comes to getting data and figuring out the best way to get through those behaviors for that child where they are developmentally. So you can get another one-on-one or ABA therapist through your insurance. So this, you would have to go to a doctor, or I believe like your child's psychiatrist, or whoever they would go for, their developmental pediatrician. I believe it's the developmental pediatrician or psychiatrist. Either way, you can go to a medical provider and ask for a prescription or a letter of medical necessity to your insurance to get a ABA therapist. That ABA therapist can go to the school, can go to the camp, can go to the after school program if that's the hours that they want to add to it. So the one-on-one through insurance is not limited to going places with your child, where the one-on-one through the school district is limited to doing like just school activities within the school, like school trips and stuff like that. So my son has had an ABA therapist at camps with him that wasn't provided by the school district, that was provided by his insurance. So when I see people say like, oh, my child doesn't have like an extra person, I'm like, well, your child could actually have two extra people if you know that you could take advantage of these two things. So that's the first option. The second option is you can volunteer at the school as a parent. When I worked in a school, I saw a parent who their child they used to walk around the halls. They never wanted to be in class. And when I would be with them, I would do certain things to encourage him to like be in class or to read. And he just wanted things to be a certain way. It was just, yeah. So his mom actually volunteered, and I believe she ended up working at the school that he was at so that she could see what was going on, help out, or at least come in whenever these behaviors were something that the school felt like they couldn't, I guess, control or they couldn't help. She'd be able to come in there. So that's also an option. You can volunteer yourself as a parent at the school instead of being like, oh, I want to drag them right out, or I'm going to go off of whatever they're saying, all these negative behaviors. Like, you can go in there and see what, your own eyes, what's going on. On top of that, I just want to add, because I don't know everyone's financial situation, working situation, everyone is different, but not only can you like say volunteer for the school or say get hired into the school as like maybe a paraprofessional or part-time support person to work there, but you can also get hired as your child's home health aide. So I do have a video that talks about getting a home health aide for your child, but I don't have one that talks about a parent being a home health aide. And I do want to make a video that talks about parents being home health aides, because it is a little different. But I just want to say for here, I'll put that in another video, but you can become a home health aide for your child and say even schedule those hours that you get paid, the hours that your child's in school, and then you can get all the clearances you would need to volunteer in the school and get paid through an agency, because that's you working for your child anyway. So that's if it gets to a point where everyone doesn't have like the same sort of support. So if they're in the school all day, then how are they like paying their bills, right? So this is something that you would express to a doctor so that you could do that. But like I said, that's a whole other process. I'll put that on a whole other video. So that was option 2, volunteer or become the home health aide and end up in the school so that you can see what's going on and help out. And you can do those things and do option 1. All these options that I'm giving are options, but you can still do them all at one time because we're going to utilize all our resources. So the third option is to call for an emergency IEP meeting to address the issues. And you can also address the issues, or you should address the issues that when you hear about it the same day. So you should write an email to whoever needs to get that email to address, say, issues or anything that you've heard about your child's behavior the same day, just to document what you've heard, when we can discuss like having a meeting about it. For me, I'll have the meeting the same day and be like, hey, I would like to have a call with you. And if they're like, okay, well, this is the time I have, and I'm like, okay, well, I can just come in, because I don't have a problem with like sitting down and talking to the person and trying to figure out like what we need to do. And I also feel like some really good advice that I got from my aunt was that when you go into these IEP meetings, when you walk into the school, when you do anything, when it comes to working with the people that's working with your child, you want to go in there with the mindset that, hey, I'm trying to help you help my child. And if we're just giving negative reinforcements and no positive reinforcements, and then you can also go on the school district website and see different things that are said about, okay, if your child has disabilities, then these are the enforcements that they should be enforcing. So if they're saying, hey, these are the behaviors happening, then you should be asking, okay, well, where are the reinforcements? What's being done? Besides, what are you telling me? And also, not besides what's being done, if they have an individualized plan, education plan, then they should not be getting the same sort of punishment or consequences, or they should be learning in a way that was individualized to them. So whatever was discussed in the IEP meeting should be taking place. And if you realize that that's not happening and these behaviors are happening, then you can call for an emergency IEP meeting and have everyone on the same page. I would suggest to have the teacher in there, because I know that there are some times where I don't even know how this happens, but the teacher is not in there. And I get that there is like, they're in class, but if there's an IEP meeting, it makes absolutely no sense to me to not have the teacher in there, to not have the one-on-one in there. Well, I need to talk to like, say, the vice principal or the secretary or this person or like the higher up people if you're not in the class with him. So you're literally going off of paper. But then if I'm talking to say like the teacher, I'm getting all these things when I'm speaking over the course of the weeks, but in the IEP meeting, that's not translating because we're not getting what the teacher is saying, then how does that work? So in these IEP meetings, in my opinion, make sure you have the teacher, the one-on-one, whatever therapists are supposed to be working with your child. So if they're supposed to be getting 45 minutes, like a month, who is that person? Write that person's name down, have that person in the IEP meeting where they provide for that person. If your child likes to rock and stuff like that, I believe they do have chairs that can possibly rock. So there are different things that you can provide for your child, which is you advocating for them versus how we have to conform them to this environment that may not be the best environment for them. So let's make it work. So yeah, without getting too deep into that, like I said, IEP meeting or same day meeting to document everything. So yes, number 4, I just want to put like a bus issue because I've heard this from like different parents. If your child has disabilities, I believe you can request to have your child have a one-on-one, like an extra person on that bus, because different districts, they contract with different agencies, and those agencies may not have like the manpower for all the different children that have these things going on. So they'll just put a whole bunch of kids possibly that have different disabilities on the same bus and maybe just have like one bus attendant, but then that bus attendant has to say help children that are physically handicapped. So they're not necessarily able to see what's going on. So in those situations, I would say you should ask the school for another bus agency because they most likely have other bus agencies, and maybe one will have one with less kids on there, or one will have one with more staff or support to be able to have that one-on-one. If you don't have that option of going to another agency, then at least this is in Philadelphia, which I forgot to mention. You have the option of doing the flat rate program, which is just them paying you to pick up and drop off your child. And I believe they have a program or possibly like a way where you get half of the money where the child gets dropped off. So you would have to drop the child off and then they would drop your child off, or vice versa. But I feel like it's they would drop your child off. Yeah, and then so you would get half the money. But you can look into that because I'm telling you this information, and this may apply to other school districts, but for Philadelphia, this is just something that I'm learning. So I wanted to keep this video like around 10 minutes. I'm at 12 minutes. So like I said, I just want to give a quick video. I'm going to put another video up about how a parent can be a child's caregiver and what those steps are. And yeah, so I hope everyone's having like a good first half of the year. I want to say semester, but it is so weird. But the school year with your children. If you have any questions, you can leave them below. And yeah, happy holidays, everybody. And I hope it's working out for everyone. And yeah, leave questions below, and I will be back with you soon. All right, bye.